Okay, one of my friends was wanting me to make a video on the attempted assassination of President Donald Trump. And I think the question comes down to always, and what people don't want to discuss is does a president ever deserve to get assassinated? Okay, and it happens in a lot of countries. And I'm always when I'm ever in a country, uh, I mean Mexico, they kill people all the time. Thailand, they kill people all the time. The politicians regularly get killed, and reporters get killed more. Like Mexico is one of the highest number of reporters getting killed on the planet. Okay, but does a president deserve to get uh, killed? Okay, and I think that's the thought that when somebody, I'm sure that some people, when President Trump didn't get killed, their first thought was, well, they missed him. Okay, they were not happy that it didn't happen, and there's some people that are sad that it are sad either way, right? You're never going to get the truth out of people on this because it's virtual signaling, okay? And I was very grateful that President Trump did not get killed. Um, but actually, I'm very surprised this is the very first time that an attempt has been made. I What we don't know, and see, the Secret Service stops a lot of attempts before they even get to the stage. And it's kind of sad right now that it got to this stage, and it's a failure on the part of the Secret Service, not Social Security, Secret Service. And so what happened? I was also thinking they should be able to have a detection service that could detect when people are moving on top of buildings, right? And we have the technology to do this. And right now, the idea that anywhere, a line of sight to the president with anything, they should be able to have the technology to detect this stuff. And it's a little fishy that nobody saw this person. I think that on top of them, but I don't really know, and I didn't really research because I really don't care that much. I do care that they tried to attempted to kill him, but I don't care that he got killed because the shooter. I do care that this innocent bystander got killed. This is horrible. You know, you're expecting the government of the United States to protect you, okay? Because this is what's happening right now. And a lot of what you're hearing right now is often they're attempting to say that if he's a felon, they're going to remove his Secret Service protection. And the President of the United States deserves Secret Service protection till the day they die. Okay, but I've always figured that Trump had better personal attention than I think it's a combination. Okay, because I don't believe the Secret Service is as good as they should be. Okay. Oh, it's sprinkling. Okay, but I'm sure they've stopped dozens of attacks, and it's really sad that this happened. Why? Why is it sad? It's because this is what happens in developing nations. Okay, I've been in 114 countries. I've lived in these places for 26 years. I don't live in the United States. And technically, when I'm in a country and they're going to have an election, I try to leave, okay? Because I left one time. I've left many countries right before they had an election because it can turn into a complete riot. The people will riot, okay? You had in Thailand, you had the red shirts, blue shirts, and when tyranny gets out of control. Now, tyranny is a tyrannical dictator, blah, blah, blah. These are kind of humorous words because they act like it's an all or nothing state. But tyranny happens all the time. A tyrannical way of dealing with something is a person, I have the power, therefore I'm going to do it. And I'm, in a way, Trump got himself in trouble because he said on the first day, I'm going to be a dictator and I'm going to change and reverse all these things that Biden did by executive decision. See, they can sign these things and make a law. Okay, it's absolutely insane in a way. They can sign these things, and they're so Biden's does 4,000 of them. Trump does 4,000 of them. Everybody does these things anymore, and they pass laws by signature, not by actual agreement of the people. Okay, and it's kind of sad because they can really do some very big tyrannical damage. Okay, but I think Trump probably said the word dictator just to have these crazy people misinterpret it and go crazy on it, because he does this all the time. He feeds them. But so this is, I'm surprised this happened. I'm proud of him, though. I'm very, very proud of him, because what he did at the end when he was leaving the stage or something, he put up his arm and said, fight. He didn't just cower and hide and fall down and look bad. He showed the president of the United States being a force, okay? Because the only value really of the president of the United States, in my opinion, is to give confidence to the nation that he or she can protect us in the time of war. And what you're seeing right now is people finally admitting they don't feel safe with Joe Biden. And it's nothing wrong with what he's doing in a way. He's getting old, and he's just not man enough for the job right now. And that's my opinion. But the first thought when I heard this, and I'm going to admit the truth, is they got the wrong guy. Though I did see when Trump got his ear, if he would have turned his head just one way or another, he would have been dead. Because he must have been just in a specific way, because your head moves closer as you move around. He's very lucky to be alive, but the people that got killed behind him, the one person that got killed, is really sad. I'm proud of him, because a president should be like a king. When you had the Middle East in the medieval times and whatever, and you had the king fighting for the people. He would go into the battlefield and do different things. And this is what we need in a leader. Okay, we need a hero. Okay, we need somebody that doesn't just lay down and roll over. And he did it in a manly way. He did it as a leader. A leader does not just roll over and die. And in a way, right now, Biden's trying to act like a leader. I don't think his cognitive abilities or his whatever ability is smart enough to realize. But I also think he's got to be able to stay in office until he can pardon his son. Okay, I think what Trump ought to do is say, I will pardon your son and you can leave the office. That would be kind of the best thing to do, because it's all a money-making venture for these presidents. The job of the president is to be the executive. He's the legal system of the country, okay? And so this is where people come into it. You see them always bringing it. They're acting like somebody's evil, okay? And they're calling Trump all possible names, okay, as they do call Biden all possible names. And this is normal politics, okay? So attempts on attempts on the life of a politician to assassinate him is absolutely normal anywhere on the planet. Why? Well, because presidents and leaders can really drastically cause financial difficulty for a business, okay? You can see that I think Biden's actually working for the, in a way, it looks like he's working against the oil companies, but I actually believe he's working for the oil companies. He's making the prices go up and things like that. And there are certain things where he's creating research and he's paying these guys. See, these guys want all these excuses to transition to renewable power. But the point is this, is that does a president deserve to get killed? Does an attempt on the life of a president, is that a correct thing? In my opinion, yes. Okay, this is to be expected. This is not abnormal. This is the normal situation. And presidents all around the nation get killed, all around the world, get killed. Okay, they get assassinated. Normally in the election process, many people get killed so instead of just going through the election in a normal place, Zelensky or whatever his name is in Ukraine is really causing a lot of problems. He's becoming a very hardcore dictator, and it's really sad because the United States has been fed a line of crap here on the whole thing, in my opinion. And everybody in really right now, I would think everybody in the Ukraine would like to become Russian and get this thing over with because. One time I had a girl, Alina, that I was asking, what's going on? They just had martial law declared in Ukraine. She said the president wasn't going to get reelected. So what he did is he put on martial law so he could delay the election. This is what happens in countries like Ukraine. Russia, I kind of appreciate is just more of a dictatorship, which is good. Dictatorships, if they make the country strong, are better, more effective forms of governments. A benevolent king is a much better form of president. One time, the older President Bush said, this would be a lot easier if I was a dictator. He said that because getting the consensus of people is thing. But does a president deserve to have assassination text? Yes. Why? We have this Second Amendment, okay? What is the Second Amendment? I think, well, I want to tell you, I think President Bush is a hero. He thought of himself, the reason why I think he's a hero, he sat there and he thought to himself, I am the only one capable of understanding and having the will to get done see, right now, everybody just keeps voting for more taxes, and President Trump caused himself all these problems because he's trying to drain the swamp, as he says. And he's really trying to do that. But he thought, I'm the only one with the fortitude, the will, the diligence to get this done. But I'm going to tell you right now, before I go into why a president deserves to get killed, there's a certain essence at a point when a president does deserve to get killed. That's when they become a tyrannical president. So let's look at all the nations on the planet. Don't just act like the United States is the only country on the planet. The nationalistic attitude of the United States is we are everything to the world. And that's just not true. We are just a small portion of the world. We are the people that buy all the products to the rest of the world. But these are some interesting things. The net worth of a president before he became president. Ronald Reagan was worth $10.6 million, $15.4 million after he was out of office. George H. Bush, the senior, he started at $4 million. He was worth $23 million by the time he was done. Bill Clinton, he started out at $1.3 million. He was worth $241 million after his presidency. George W. Bush, the younger one, started out at $20 million, became $40 million. Barack Obama started out $1.3 million, was worth $70 million. How do these guys do this? Donald Trump started out at $3.7 billion, and he decreased $2.5 billion. Why did he lose money as a presidency? Because he was doing his job. He wasn't doing it for money. He actually lost his net worth. I should have looked up John F. Kennedy. But you can see that John F. Kennedy, there's a lot of theories that John F. Kennedy got shot because he was trying to make some social changes that was going to radically hurt a lot of people's finances. And the reason why most of the politicians hate Donald Trump is quite simple. He's draining the swamp, and he said he's going to drain the swamp. And he took NATO. He took NATO and said, you guys got to contribute your money or we're going to do it. He's threatening to pull out of NATO. That way he's negotiating. The hard part about people understanding Trump is everything he says is negotiations. And he will say and infer and even lie probably to negotiate, to make people say, because in the press, I was friends with the mayor of Fort Wayne one time, Helmke, I think it was. And they were going to pass this law to get rid of this women's shelter or something. And I called him up and I said, why are you getting rid of this women's shelter? This is specifically needed. He says, Andy, don't tell anybody. He says, but we are not getting rid of the thing. We did a press release to get rid of the women's shelter so that we got the people scared so that they would support it financially. So they play all these games, okay? And you, in a way, they maneuver the people for their, maybe for their better good. Can you always be, I don't know, Ben Carson's a really good person. And I don't think he can ever become president because he's not willing to lie. And I'm not sure if you can have a president that doesn't, I don't know what you say, tell the people what they want to hear. Because, like, I'm sure there's been nuclear things that we're not going to know what happens. Like, there's certain things that the public cannot know. But let's go. But why do all these presidents, especially the Democrats, Obama starts out at 1.3 million. He's worth $70 million. I mean, I don't have Biden here. Where is Biden? Oh, didn't have it. But you can see that this is a profitable venture to become president. It shouldn't be profitable. Okay, it should be in a way you're being a philanthropist. You're doing the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you're at the highest level. And I do believe that Donald Trump is doing it for the good of the nation. But I will caveat that and said that anybody that wants to be president has to be a little crazy. Okay, I mean, anybody that wants to be famous is crazy. When everybody's working, wanting to be Kim Kardashian or all these people, and there's nothing worse on the planet than being famous. I am going to go to Africa for 2 years because I don't like to be near anybody that would know me. I like to live a life of kind of solitude, but I like to make these videos because they make me a better person and I get some feedback. And on the other side is I have people that hate me, which is fine. I mean, you can't be a leader. If you're not hated by 50% of the people, you're not a leader, okay? A leader has to be hated. It's just part of the game of being a boss or whatever. If everybody that's working for you loves you, it's kind of weird, okay? You probably have some managers that they hate and you've done it. And that's kind of the way to do it, is you become the loved president, then you have these little managers that do all the difficult decisions. But does a president deserve to get killed? Yes, in certain situations. If he or she is becoming a tyrannical president, this is what the Second Amendment's for. It's to fight against the government, and it's a checks and balances. And I'm actually under the belief that right now, the only solution we have to get all these lawyers into shape is that somebody, if the people are going to get angry, okay, they're going to get angry enough eventually where they're going to start killing the politicians. It's just the way it works. You get people too angry, they will kill the leaders. That's just how the world works. And do they deserve it? Yes, there's countries where they have a coup, a military coup. Did we deserve to have the Declaration of Independence from England? Yes, same kind of crap. Did we have the right to overthrow the government? Yes. And that's what starts out with assassinations, okay? So yes, every government on the planet has this constant process of being, you have to be a leader that is beneficial to the people or they will kill you, okay? I go to Togo all the time, and it's a great country, and we have a president that is elected, but really has been the same family for almost 80 years or something like that. I don't know. And, it's a beneficial leader, okay? Gets a lot of stuff done. But does a president under certain situations deserve to get killed? Do we want it to happen? No, but we want the rule of law to work. Okay, so the rule of law. What is the rule of law? The rule of law is you break the law and you go. I mean, we got people coming across the border doing anything they want. This is just a joke, okay? They actually have illegal people to be in this country. I cannot enter Mexico. If I went into Mexico and I entered illegally, they would put me in a jail and they would call up my family and try to get a bribe for $10,000. Okay. I mean, you can't enter Mexico or Guatemala or Honduras or Venezuela illegally, but we are letting the rule of law break down, because what happens is, in the development of a country, the rule of law is what makes for a successful country. So United States is becoming a tyrannical thing. Now, it's not like, I'm going to read the definition of tyranny here in a second, but um, it really, sadly, is becoming a third world nation. Okay, it's doing all the characteristics. We are fighting like we're going to break out into war between the political parties. This is what happens in every other country on the planet. Okay, but the other countries are rising up, and the rule of law is becoming more effective, and the press is becoming more effective, and they're keeping people honest. Our press is actually being paid for and working for the politicians. Okay, and this is the opposite of freedom. Okay, when you can sit there and watch a whole newspaper working for one political party, it's pretty sad. Okay, they should, in my opinion, be neutral. They should hire people from both sides of the issue, and they should be supportive. But you can see that COVID-19, here's a classic. The people made billions and billions of dollars off something that was not quite what they said it was. And I think they're still terrorizing the people with the COVID. I believe it was, at best, a very good way for the pharmaceutical industry to make a fortune. It's not as bad as they made it. Okay, the right to bear arms. The founding fathers felt that the citizens should be able to protect themselves against the government and any other threat to their well-being or personal freedom. They should be able to protect themselves, their personal freedom, or against the government. See, what happened right before the thing, I mean, I'm always laughing when the British are complaining about our guns, and I go, you guys caused the problems. Okay, what they did is they were forced to allow these soldiers to stay in the homes of people. Okay, they took away all our guns. They made it so we couldn't fight. And that's what happens in an unfair tyranny situation. There is no balance. It's like you see this in husbands and wives, where the husband works, he has all the money, the wife has no money. There's no balance of power. Okay, but sometimes the woman will take and get all the children as a balance of power against the husband. When in an equal situation, both the wife and the husband contribute the same. Justice is the problem here when there's an unjust situation. So right now, very few people can see. They act like we're this really idiot thing. They say we're a land of immigrants, therefore we should let illegal things happen. This is just absolutely the stupidest thing anybody could ever say. If my nephews say that stuff out loud, I stop talking to them, because I know they have no brain. Okay, somebody says get rid of the police, defund the police. That's got to be the signal that you don't need to talk to that person. They are incapable of understanding common sense and consequences. These kind of comments are growing rampant because this is tyranny. Okay, tyranny is the idea that we have some sort of agreement that we can do what we want, and you have to go along with it because we get away with it. Okay, it's the tyranny that's happening right now. The Second Amendment granted citizens the right to give them the ability to defend themselves. But now I can say this, and you've seen that there was all these reports from Biden and Clinton and everybody that this should never happen in our nation. Of course, they have to say this. I'm not a politician. I'm like, of course this is going to happen. It's happened all through history. President Lincoln got shot. McKinley got shot. People get assassinated. The job of being president is very dangerous. That's why we have the Secret Service. And what they stopped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things of crazy. The bad part is when the politicians are, like you have these. I was watching, I don't know which show I was watching. You can get on a video and you can watch how many times. I mean, that one lady held up a head of President Trump, right? This is evil, right? This is to it's in some ways it was funny, on the other ways it's evil. And there's the growing evil in the United States is happening because of the press. And I made a video about that yesterday. And we have to get rid of the press that is basically, we're almost going to have to go to a one-person press like Shapiro and all these kind of people. There's people that are being the voice of reason like Rogan and different people. And they have to be autonomous and separated, and they can't be paid for by advertisers. When a president steps outside the law and does things that are illegal, that's when you shoot them, okay? And right now, I would say Joe Biden's in danger, okay? He is doing stuff that people consider illegal, and he's condoning it. These sanctuary cities are doing things that are illegal, and that's when the Second Amendment comes into effect, okay? And that's the reason for why there is a time when a president should get shot, okay? But I'm not going to do it. I'm just a guy sitting around. I don't even like the United States anymore. I'm not even wanting to be in the United States. I like the fact that they collected my Social Security. They give me Social Security, and it is one of the best countries on the planet. I can go anywhere. But it's quite obvious that the NSA and all these companies, these tech companies, are working together to take, and they're literally brainwashing the public into making them rich. Okay, they're evil. Okay, the CIA is a system where we go into other countries to try to kill presidents. Okay, and then we are not supposed to kill a president in the United States. Okay, wait a minute. We have the CIA doing all this crazy shit all around the planet, okay? And they're overthrowing governments, and they're trying to overthrow governments. I had this college professor really rattling on me one time. I think I was in Cusco, Peru, and he says, do you think it's right that the CIA goes in and tries to kill off like the leader of Venezuela? I said, I think what's sad is they don't get the shit done. They don't get the job done. I mean, if you're going to make the decision to be changing the forces of the world by violence, get it done. Don't play games. But Gerald Ford, after he made an executive decision that you cannot try to assassinate the president of another country, because, you know, that's like, we won't kill the presidents, but we'll let everybody else kill each other. To me, the ideal thing is you go over and you kill the leaders of Iran. Okay, it's quite simple. I mean, Israel's doing this right now. They're going through and whacking the Hamas leaders. And President Trump, when he was in office, whacked some very important people with drones. Kill them, but they weren't the leader of the country. Truly, Zelensky, in my opinion, needs whacked, okay? I think Putin's a pretty good president. I think Zelensky deserves to get killed. I think the growing Putin is making the nation of Russia a better nation, and I think what you're seeing right now is everybody's escaping from Ukraine. Before the war, 1 million people were leaving Ukraine a year, okay? So this war thing is a great way for Zelensky to become a billionaire, and he's an evil man, okay? And I've been to Ukraine 3 times, and I think the whole thing is ridiculous. They just offered a settlement the other day. I think, in a way, Zelensky needs whacked, okay? Now, why would I say anything would ever be whacked? When the judicial system, the rule of law, breaks down, then the only thing that works is violence. So the judicial system in the United States worked down. There was no law. The king did anything he wanted when we declared Declaration of Independence. They were doing absolutely anything they want to the people of the colonies, okay? So, and that is what's happening with the border crossing right now. It's the breaking down of the legitimate respect for the law. And when the executive person of a country, the leader of a country doesn't have any respect for the law, and like extrajudicial killings or something they call it. Like there's a question whether El Salvador right now is doing just whacking people. This guy in the Philippines was just whacking people. They call it extrajudicial killings. And but why do these things happen? It's because they are a tyrannical leader that believes they have the right to do this. Okay, and sometimes, unfortunately, it's the only way to get things done, and that is the problem. There's a time like President Lincoln did a lot of things that were not really in the Constitution in the Civil War. Okay, and leaders with executive, see, they can sign into a law, an executive. They the Obama, Clinton, all these guys make these executive decisions, and they change the course of the nation by just the pen. And then the only way to get it to change back is to have the Supreme Court overturn it. And that's the problem. Almost everything that's ever happened to Donald Trump got turned over in the Supreme Court. But tyranny is defined as an oppressive power exerted by a government or ruler. It often involves absolute power. That's the executive decisions. So the opening of the border and making, giving these, I mean, this is just insane. You're entering a country without permission, and it's just insane. Okay, absolute power. That's one of the things. Oppression and cruelty, they're calling tyranny. Now, the bad part about this definition is they're not looking at this on a continuum. Okay, illegitimate rule. Do you have the right to make the decision to open the borders? No, you don't. There's no, we didn't vote on this. We didn't make an amendment. We didn't do anything like that. That's illegitimate rule. That's tyranny. Lack of accountability. Accountability is the issue. What are the consequences of tyranny is you can get killed. And that's where the consequences for these politicians is going to start happening. You're going to see it happening. It's going to grow. If the things don't change and we don't make America great again, it's going to go back to a point where we do like third world nations, and they're just going to say, this politician, we can't stop them. They're destroying our city. We'll just go whack them. I mean, I've always wondered why some billionaires just don't whack certain people. Lack of accountability. The consequences of unjust, no respect for the rule of law is you can get killed. Because when the people start fighting back, it's at a point right now where it's a powder keg. And I have no respect for the rule of law. I went through 5 years of riding around on a moped. I made a video when I was in tourist France. These illegal aliens, why did I suffer a legitimate? I deserved what I got. Driving around for 5 years on a moped, being publicly shamed, suffering the consequences of my behavior when they give these illegal people a place to live and money. This is ridiculous. This is the opposite of having respect for the law. And when you break down the law, I have trouble saying that the United States is a first world nation anymore. We're actually becoming very, very quickly a third world nation. And it's just going to take a, radical, and I'm expecting this bubble to burst. And when the United States economy crashes, maybe we'll go back to the rule of law. Maybe all these politicians, but the solution is term limits, okay? They shouldn't let these, see, Joe Biden is a politician for life, right? That's all he's ever done his whole life has been a politician. They shouldn't have this type of person being leaders, okay? They shouldn't have lawyers being leaders. Every time you elect a Harvard lawyer, you doom yourself, okay? And every time anybody, I think Biden went to Harvard, every time anybody elects an attorney, I mean, Obama was an activist. That was his whole life business of being an activist. And I voted for Obama, and I even went to Kenya, and I went to a place where they were fighting, the Muslims and the Christians were fighting over Mama Sarah, whatever, and trying to convert her to, they took her to Dubai and tried to make her a thing. And Obama's father, was the drunk of the village. So nobody wanted to talk about him. But what happened? A white woman went over to Africa. She gets pregnant by a black guy, and it's just a typical stereotype cliche thing that happens in Africa. These aid organizations go over there, and some local man bangs them. Okay, it's pretty human. It happens constantly, guys. Okay, so what is the solution? The solution is the rule of law. But the rule of law has to be legitimate. Malcolm Gladwell goes into great detail on legitimacy. A rule of law, like I legitimately knew that I deserved to lose my license for 10 years. And I also knew I legitimately had the right to get it back after 5. It took 6 to get it back. But the point is this: when the legitimacy of thing is not trusted, when you start fighting over a law like this border thing, it's not right. Then they should get rid of it. Legitimate law, everybody, 90% of people agree with it. Yeah, there's people that are always going to break the law, like they're going to speed too fast, whatever. But when 90% of the population goes along with it, that's a legitimate law. What's happening at the border is not legitimate, which is what brings into the word tyranny, absolute power that can do it, and that's when somebody deserves to get killed. That's what happens. What do you expect? When you are running a country and you own it and you can do anything you want, and you go from $1.3 million in value to $70 million, there's something wrong. Okay. President Clinton, he went from, I don't know, a couple $1 million to $270 million. Okay. You can see the problem, right? But people have to get clear in their mind what they're doing, and the education is the answer, and understanding and common sense. On the other side is people get elected from a charismatic person. Charismatic people kind of mesmerize people. So the leader, Trump, is very charismatic, as is Biden, obviously. I think, to me, he's the opposite of charismatic, but somehow he must do it. On the other side, I worry about him, that the powers that be know that they can control what he does, so he's a perfect president for the corporate people. And that's why the politicians and all the media and everybody likes him, is because they can get all their Mickey Mouse things, like forcing my daughter, if I had a daughter, to have a guy walk into the toilet with her. These kind of crazy things, right? I was laughing. I'm filling out all these paper, and they asked the question, sex at birth, and they don't get. I'm like going, oh, it's hilarious that we have to have these questions. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham, and I think it's a good thing, and I'm glad that we haven't broke out into. I'm glad that we haven't really the total legal system, and we haven't broke out into a rebellion yet. And I think it's possible. And I'm thinking the only solution actually is either a lot of politicians start to get whacked by accident or by some reason or whatever, so that they start realizing they're held accountable. Or the better thing is we have a complete depression. So I'm actually voting for a complete depression where we got 35% unemployment. And that, to me, seems to be the checks and balances that will bring the nation back into balance. I don't want to do it like the normal way with World War III, which is, world wars solve economic problems. They make men out of women. Okay, I mean, no, that's the wrong way to say it. You make people understand the consequences of their behavior. They make rational people. See, consequences make rational people, but you're gonna make people that are capable of making decisions and having the fortitude of Donald Trump. Donald Trump, think of it, the guy is complete under attack 24 hours a day, and he just keeps on ticking. He's that little energizer rabbit. He just keeps on ticking. Why? Because he believes in himself, and he was worth billions, while most of the presidents are worth a few million, right? And when they become president, he didn't need to do this job. He didn't need to get rich being a president. Obama needed to get rich. President Clinton needed to get rich. Hillary needed to get rich. All these presidents. I mean, Reagan barely got rich. I don't know how they get rich being president. I think it should be somehow an amendment that they cannot endorse, become wealthy, being president. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham. I hope that was entertaining. All this stuff is just cocktail conversation. Cocktail conversation is something's fun at the cocktail party. It really don't mean crap, because anything I say is not going to happen, right? But I really wish the politicians would be honest to really address these big issues. I think that Kennedy running for office is sort of doing that, but he doesn't seem to be able to get enough purchase to really make it. I'm hoping real soon we get rid of Biden, because technically he's a tyrannical president, and we need to somehow get him out of office. Okay, he's not mentally capable of protecting the nation, and his job as the executive officer is to have the force of the rule of law and to protect us in the time of war. And this guy, I don't think he can wipe his ass. I don't know. And the guy's going to start having incontinence or something. I mean, he's really not thing. And the fact that they're not just taking him out of office fast is sad. His wife and him and his son are evil. To persist in being a leader when it's obvious, when it's just for evil reason. I think the only reason we're really doing it is probably so that he can. So President Bush, my solution would be President Trump says, I vow that I will, forgive all the legal things of the younger Biden and Joe Biden, so they will leave office, because they are both up to their ears in what smells, okay? But his son obviously is a kind of a criminal, right? And so you got to just, forgive them for all their whatevers and get on with it, because I think Joe Biden wants to be able to forgive the legal problems of his son, and he's going to die anyway. So he don't care anything about anything except his family and his money he has and his son's money and all this stuff. So. Yeah, but that's my opinion. And on the other side is he's really making a fool of himself. And if anything, you don't want to be leader until you make a fool of yourself. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham. I'm here and you're not. Why not? I hope that was happy. But my friend that was asking me to make this was trying to compare Trump to Putin. Yeah, they're the same make. They're the same type of people. They're powerful people. Powerful people act similar, okay? I don't know what you want to say. That's what power does.